God is absolute perfection. Why would He make us suffer? We have not been able to understand how the divine laws work. God is compassion and forgiveness, not pain in the mind and mortification of the body. When that happens, God is helping us to see that we are not on the right track with our thoughts and our actions. These are the words of Mary Magdalene. They come from the artist and author Raffaella Corcione Sandoval. The presence of Mary Magdalene is in the book Ella and the Tree of Myrrh. It is not merely information about her. This book also adds a new perspective on who she was in relation to Christ, not only in their human relationship, but in their spiritual complementarity and in the integration of the masculine and feminine of the divine unity. The historical facts, when considered without prejudice, point to the naturalness of their relationship, but are unable to reveal the metaphysical dimension of who they have been together. This book is a lived experience, not an opinion, which testifies to its uniqueness. It will be clear to the attentive and sensitive reader that the wisdom given here is beyond the boundaries of space-time, and the revelation of the relationship comes from that same source. It is eternal memory and existing reality. It is one thing to know that Mary Magdalene was the most illumined of the disciples. It is another to know her relationship to Jesus, not only as the one He particularly loved. In her words recorded in Ella and the Tree of Myrrh, we read, "It was not only a transmission of secret oral teachings, but a sharing of confirmations in which His foot entered perfectly into my imprint." What does this imply? That their being was united, that the two are one from that same source. Is the return of Christ the return of Mary Magdalene? But she, in our time, who is she really? She has suffered much, so much that she has no more tears left to shed. Yet she radiates with a joy that she conveys to everyone who crosses her path. More than joy, it is light, a contagious spiritual light. She is as free as a child and as wise as an ancient one. This joy and lightness of being is anchored in her to a knowledge that goes beyond time. All of her actions and reactions are aligned in the total acceptance of the will of God. This is her secret, discovered through a love of the divine that knows no limits. She knows instinctively the unconditional love of God and returns it with all her being. She is fully human, delighting in the ordinary things of life, filled with compassion and an extraordinary capacity for forgiveness. Constantly vigilant, she demands without compromise authenticity from herself and from those close to her, precisely because she believes in perfection and pursues it through the practice of truth, honesty, and faithfulness. Divine intuitions flow from her spontaneously, naturally, fluidly. Sharing her experience with the deepest thinker and the simplest worker, making them accessible. She is a warrior of light ever since she recognized the one and only true enemy, the ego. The fruit of that inner battle has made her fascinating with discretion and shyness. This shyness hides the depths of her inner being, and the outside world can easily confuse her kindness and generosity of heart with those of an ordinary person. But there is nothing ordinary about her. She can be fragile and vulnerable, yet within her is a strength that can overcome all things because it is rooted in her creed. Faced with the dark aspect of matter and of the human psyche, she can become drastic. Today she is no longer tolerant of what does not come from God and what creates an obstacle to God. But the emergence of that warrior spirit vanishes as quickly as it appears, to give rise to a tenderness that comforts, guides, and brings understanding to the tormented human soul. Her forgiveness is salvific, her love is initiatory and transformative. Her radiance reveals the eternal youth of her spirit. Throughout her journeys through the human experience, she has always brought that wonder, delight, and creativity that belongs to the children of light. Her eyes are windows onto eternity. She lives in the knowledge that all things come from God. Therefore, everything has a connection. Everything has meaning and purpose. In her is expressed the reconciliation of opposites. The feminine and the masculine have merged, giving rise to the neutrality of the human spirit and its continuous evolution in the heart of God. When she speaks, she reveals a synthesis of the essential, transcending all confusion, paradox, and rigid doctrine. She is here now, in our time, to bring back to life the testimony of the revelations given in the past. In this age of contradiction, she has come not to judge, but to offer the opportunity to each one who is able to receive it, to bring forth the true self. The purity of her soul is revealed in transparency, protected by truth and a constancy of love that heals the soul, elevating it to its maximum potential. She is here now because faith falters and fragments. She is the dawn of a new day, of a new understanding of the way of unconditional love.